Right now, AI feels overwhelming. Everywhere you look, there are headlines saying AI will automate everything, replace jobs, and change lives at breakneck speed and whatnot. And that naturally creates fear and confusion. But here's the problem. Most of this conversation is emotional and not analytical. People are mixing hype, funding news, valuations, jobs anxiety, and technology into one big cosmic chaos. What I want to offer in this video is something very simple, a systematic way to think. Instead of asking is AI good or bad, or will AI take my job, let's ask a more fundamental question. Is this a technology that is structurally here to stay, or will it eventually fade away? There's a way to evaluate that calmly, and the way we did for internet or smartphones might help here as well. If a technology passes a few basic checks, it survives. If it does not, it perishes. It's as simple as that. So let's get started. Most people working in tech already knows this, that AI is not just ChatGPT or Grok or agentic AI or any other shiny demos. If you're a student or a professional, you are already dealing with what sits beneath the surface. The iceberg, the messy data, slow infrastructure, integration challenges, rising computing costs, sovereign concerns, security, skill gaps. There's a lot. None of this is trivial, and none of this is new to people in the industry. So the question is not whether this complexity exists. It clearly does. The real question is, do we need to untangle all of this complexity to decide whether AI is a boom or a bubble? Well, in this video, I'm deliberately stepping away from tools, buzzwords, and operational details, not because they don't matter, but because they distract us from more fundamental evaluation. Instead, we'll look at AI structurally, using a simple thought process, or a thought framework of sorts, that helps us reason clearly even in the middle of all this chaos. To understand the real impact AI may have on our lives as students or professionals, we need a way to think beyond the headlines and hype. One simple way is to evaluate AI the same way we evaluate any general purpose technology. There are 4 basic checkboxes. Is it efficient? Is it sustainable over time? Is it economically viable? And can it operate within the legal boundaries? Let me give you a familiar example of smartphones. When smartphones first appeared, they were expensive, power-hungry, and disruptive. People worried about addiction, privacy, and whatnot. But smartphones passed all 4 tests. All these checkboxes are checked. They made communications faster, scaled globally, created entire industries, and eventually fit into the legal frameworks. And that's why smartphones stayed and became invisible infrastructure. So instead of debating opinions, let's apply the same 4 checkboxes to AI and see structurally whether it belongs in the same category or not. The first checkbox is efficiency, and here AI is already clearly usable today. Large language models, whether closed systems like ChatGPT or even open-weight models, are trained on massive datasets and run on highly optimized infrastructure. Tools like copilots, enterprise LLMs, and agentic frameworks are already delivering real productivity gains. So while there are challenges from a pure efficiency standpoint, this box is decisively checked. Let's take a concrete baseline. The 2025 AI Index report from Stanford that is recently published gives us a very clear picture on the efficiency. First, economic efficiency. Delivering the same level of AI capability today is dramatically cheaper than 2 years ago. In simple terms, you're getting similar intelligence at a fraction of the cost. Second, hardware efficiency. The cost of AI compute keeps falling every year, meaning we can do more work with same or even lower infrastructure spend. And third is energy efficiency. AI systems are becoming far more power efficient, producing more useful output for every unit of energy consumed. And finally, the algorithmic efficiency. Smarter models and better techniques mean we are extracting much more intelligence from the same hardware. Taken together, these numbers tell us a simple story. AI is not just improving in capability, it is becoming structurally more efficient across the board. Hence, the first checkbox is checked. The next checkbox is it sustainable? And here the answer is not so very clear. Just because something is efficient does not automatically mean it is sustainable or affordable at scale. So this remains an open question, and let me explain why. Let me give you a small example. On the left, you see the recent GPU generations of NVIDIA, Ampere, Hopper, Blackwell of the last 5 years, and what's coming next. This table shows a very clear pattern. With every new generation delivers a massive performance jump of 2 to 3x and often 2 to 4 times compared to its predecessor. But at the same time, the cost of each new generation is also going up, not down. Now compare this with the traditional non-AI cloud computing, the kind that runs typical workloads on AWS or Azure. There, the underlying CPU usually remains useful for 5 to 6 years. That long lifespan made cloud costs predictable and stable. But now with AI GPUs, that pattern is breaking. For example, if you bought a high-end AI GPU in Jan 2024, by Jan 2026 it is already economically outdated, as well as hardware-wise, the life is depreciating. And if you want to upgrade and stay current, you often paying 2 to 3 times more than what you did 2 years back. So what we are seeing here is a mismatch. AI models are becoming more demanding every year while hardware lifespans are shrinking and upgrade costs are rising. So clearly the checkbox of sustainability is a question. Moving to the third checkbox, is AI profitable today to the ecosystem? Well, we're all using the AI to make fun pictures and images and videos and whatnot, but that's not what I mean. Actually paying customers, how many of us are really paying it? Well, it is not profitable. It's a big no, and let me explain why. Currently, AI is fueling a circular economy. Money keeps moving inside a small closed loop instead of creating new value outside. And that's what we are seeing in AI today. Let me explain that in simple words. Take a look at this. Nvidia sits in the bottom of this loop. They build GPUs and sell them. Microsoft buys those GPUs and turns them into cloud infrastructure, the AI data centers of sorts. OpenAI uses that cloud to train and run AI models. These models in turn create more demand for GPUs and cloud capacity, and the loop goes on. This is not unusual. This is exactly how any mature supply chain ecosystem works. Hardware, platform, application, repeat. What's missing today is the final, most important part of the loop, that is the external customers, not venture capitalists, not internal investments, real users paying real money at scale to consume these AI services. Right now, AI is being widely used, talked about, and hyped, but largely consumed for free. Until paid consumption becomes the norm, money keeps circulating inside these ecosystems, not coming from outside. And that's why today, AI is visible everywhere, but not yet profitable at an ecosystem level. So coming back to our profitability checkbox, it is clearly not checked. It's a big no. Today, AI is making headlines, not money. Real paid demand comes from customers, and that is really missing. Until customers start paying at scale, AI remains impressive but not profitable. Coming to the fourth and final checkbox, is AI legal and regulated today? The honest answer is it's still a question mark. Every major technology that shapes society eventually operates under certain rules. Telecom, banking, healthcare, aviation, all are regulated because they affect people at scale. AI is now reaching that level of impact, but the regulation is still catching up. Let me explain that. When it comes to regulation, what we are seeing here is a pattern. Be it EU, US, Australia, India, and many other countries. They are moving slowly and deliberately. Why? Because regulation cuts both ways. If rules are too strict, innovation gets killed. For example, banning the use of facial data entirely would also block advances in security, healthcare, and accessibility systems. But on the other side, if AI is left completely unregulated, it opens doors to misuse, mass surveillance, racial profiling, and privacy violations based on the facial data. So governments are trying to balance out these two extremes. That's why we see that, for instance, EU and Australia easing the earlier strict proposals on the laws related to AI. The legal regulations related to AI, and then US also stepped back as well. India is choosing to extend existing laws rather than rushing to create new AI specific regulations. So this checkbox remains a question mark, that AI is not regulated strictly, but it also is not left unregulated. So this is a space that is evolving by the day. But for the moment, this checkbox remains as a question mark. Let's close this by coming back to the 4 checkboxes. Today, AI is very efficient. That part is undeniable. And this efficiency alone is enough to drive scale. What is missing right now is sustainability, profitability, and matured regulations. But yes, that's normal. That is exactly how every foundational technology evolves. Efficiency comes first, scale follows, profitability stabilizes, regulations catch up. That sequence is already set in motion. So the right takeaway is not panic, not hype. At least for the next 12 to 18 months, the landscape will remain relatively stable. What will matter is how we adapt. Students and working professionals do not need to become AI researchers. That's a different domain altogether. But yes, they do need to understand how modern AI systems work end-to-end in an enterprise AI. From infrastructure to models to cost to deployment, everything. And that's exactly what this channel Sensei is all about. In the upcoming videos, I will be breaking down the enterprise AI systems simply structurally from ground up. And if that's something you want to learn, let's stay connected. Do subscribe to Sensei AI and let's build understanding and not panic, not fear about AI. Do hit the subscribe and I'll talk to you soon. Thanks for watching.